We are diving headfirst into, well, frankly, a brutal truth about the modern career landscape. It's something most people, especially those maybe with a fresh $100,000 degree, might want to avoid. If you're listening because you need to get up to speed fast on this radical shift, away from paper qualifications towards actual skills, then you are definitely in the right place. Now, hang on. Before we really get into the thick of it, if you're looking for more of these kinds of insights, critical takes on work, talent, corporate life, let me point you to a great resource. Make sure you subscribe to the Contrarian HR podcast and articles on Substack. Seriously, they offer exactly the kind of sharp analysis that can really help you plan your next career move. Check them out. Okay, so today we're unpacking organizational psychologist Sylvia Ola's video. It's called Education Will Not Get You a Job, a Promotion or Salary Increase from her channel, The Corporate Kindergarten. And yeah, she makes a pretty devastating case that our whole education system is, well, fundamentally out of sync with today's job market.
That's exactly our mission here, to really unpack that claim. Because it is controversial, but look around. We are seeing this crisis. Highly educated people, multiple degrees, PhDs even, really struggling to find work. And the core issue, like Ola points out, seems to be this massive overeducation. We've kind of flooded the market with qualifications that maybe the economy just doesn't need in such numbers.
Right.
So this deep dive is about understanding that central problem, this belief that qualifications automatically equal career success, and why the job market is just not playing by those rules anymore.
It really forces you, the listener, to shift perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Away from seeing education like this golden key, this entry ticket, and more towards seeing it purely as a tool, something you use to get really good, competent once you're actually in a role. Okay, let's unpack this properly then. Ola's core idea, it's sharp. Education wasn't built to get you the job. Its real purpose is equipping you, giving you the knowledge so you can do the job really well.
Exactly. The diploma is sort of the receipt for the learning you did. But the output employers want, that's competence, that's performance.
And we should probably clarify right away, the scope here. We're obviously not talking about fields like surgery or, say, structural engineering. Those are regulated professions. The CHEPR is the license. Qualification is absolutely essential, non-negotiable.
Acquired.
We're focusing more on that huge swath of jobs, white-collar roles, technical roles that could theoretically rely on practical ability, much more than just academic background. And Ola taps into a really interesting mismatch here. It's supply and demand, but it's also about prestige, maybe? She sees all these people on LinkedIn, multiple degrees, struggling. But if you take a step back, does the world really need quite so many PhDs in certain fields? The education system keeps pumping them out, maybe chasing rankings or prestige.
Yeah, chasing the prestige metric.
But the employer market,
Okay.
it's signaling it doesn't value that supply in the same way anymore. Precisely. And she points out something crucial we lost. Vocational schools. Practical qualifications. The stuff that teaches directly useful skills. We kind of got rid of them, as she puts it. There was this huge societal push, wasn't there? Elevating the university degree, maybe parental pressure, institutional pressure, over learning a practical trade or getting hands-on training. We sort of looked down on it.
And that bias leads straight to this collision. It's expectations meeting a very different reality. People spend years, maybe a lot of money, chasing that academic status. So they develop, naturally, certain expectations, like, oh, I have a master's, I'm not doing that entry-level work, or this job is beneath my qualifications.
Understandable, but...
But those expectations just crash against what the market actually needs right now.
Yeah.
These people to do specific jobs. And if you refuse the available entry points because your paper says you're better than that, well, you end up unemployed, holding that paper.
A paper that becomes a reminder of maybe misspent effort, or at least misaligned expectations. The market needs problem solvers now, not just impressive academic histories, which brings us right to this big shift in what employers actually want. The analysis suggests, pretty bluntly, that employers often don't actually care what kind of education you have. Not in the way they used to.
Yeah, they've moved past simple credentialism, using the degree as a first easy filter.
Right.
Now they're zeroing in on, can you actually do this specific job right here, right now, based on our needs?
And there's data backing this up, which is important. It's not just a feeling.
No, it's not. Ola cites LinkedIn data. Apparently 30 to 35% of job posts have actually removed degree requirements.
30 to 35%, that's huge.
It's massive. Think about what that signals. A third of the market, roughly, is explicitly saying, show us what you can do. Don't just show us where you studied. Competence is replacing the credential as the main currency.
Okay, but Ola says the degree doesn't get you the job. Does that completely ignore the signaling value? Doesn't having, say, a PhD at least signal things like persistence, intelligence, ability to finish something hard, even if it doesn't guarantee a job?
That's a fair point. It definitely signals persistence, discipline, sure. But the thing is, in today's market, employers seem to need signals of current, relevant competence even more. They want to know what you can do for them now, not just that you completed a long project years ago. And look at Ola's own story. It illustrates this perfectly.
Right, she's an organizational psychologist, multiple degrees.
Yes, but she pursued her specific HR and org psych education only after she was already working in the field. She didn't get the degree to get the job.
Oh, okay.
She studied specifically to get better at the job she was already doing.
So education as a performance enhancer, not a door key. That really does flip the usual story we're told. And she had that anecdote, didn't she, about the certificate that nobody cared about.
Yeah, very telling. She got this instructional design certificate, which she said was very bloody hard to earn. You'd think that'd be super relevant for someone in her field.
Absolutely.
Yet, she says, nobody even acknowledged, nobody has ever asked about it professionally.
Wow.
It just underscores the point. If you're solving their problem, if you're delivering what they need, the specific bit of paper often becomes irrelevant. Competence is king. As she says, she's never seen a hiring because that person has a PhD. They hire because the person can do the thing they need done.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, though. Because these market changes, this shift, it feels like just the beginning, right? We have to talk about the future, the volatility. The analysis mentions that projection by 2030, 40% of today's jobs might just disappear, gone. Automation, AI, tech shifts.
Yeah, that 40% figure is terrifying, but also clarifying. It demands a whole new way of thinking about learning and careers. You just can't tie your whole identity to a job title that might not exist in 5 or 10 years. With that kind of churn, you absolutely have to be ready, as Ola suggests, for 3 to 4 careers or different type of jobs in your working life.
3 or 4. Wow.
So studying can't just be about getting knowledge for this job. It has to be about building adaptive, relevant skills the market actually needs, skills that are maybe harder to automate.
Okay, but which skills are safe then? If degrees aren't the answer and 40% of jobs are vanishing, what should people be learning to survive that wave?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It seems to point towards skills that AI struggles with. We're talking less about specific technical certs that might also become obsolete, and more about things like complex problem solving, critical thinking in novel situations, ethical judgment, creativity, managing complex systems, leading diverse teams, uniquely human capabilities.
So higher order thinking skills, adaptability.
Exactly. A general degree might touch on these, but the real value seems to be in continuous, maybe more specialized, hands-on training focused on applying these skills in the current tech landscape, interacting with AI, managing change.
That really puts the whole crying on LinkedIn thing Ola mentioned into perspective. People struggling despite degrees. The source is clear. It's not necessarily the job market being mean or the degree being worthless in itself. It's a fundamental mismatch.
Precisely. People invested time and money, maybe a lot of it, into a knowledge base or a credential that was valuable perhaps 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But the market's needs have just accelerated past that supply.
And the tough message that follows from that.
Is pretty blunt, yeah. The job market isn't going to change to suit your degree or your expectations. Ola says it clearly. You need to change for the job market. Success comes down to this relentless process of figuring out what the market wants now and aligning your skills, your knowledge, your expertise to that.
Okay, so let's try and synthesize this. We've talked about the decline of credentialism, the rise of competence, the looming threat of automation. What are the absolute key takeaways for you, the listener?
Well, first, it seems, always approach study and education with the goal of becoming more competent. It has to demonstrably improve your skills in a way the market values right now. And second, echoing that, don't study just to get a job or a promotion on paper. Focus on getting really, really good at what you do.
That's it.
Because as Ola suggests, the job, the promotion, the salary increase, that will come automatically if you are really good at what you do.
That's the core principle we need to internalize now. Education equips you. It gives you the foundation, the knowledge, the skills to do a brilliant job. It builds competence. But it won't, on its own, get you the job anymore. That takes matching the market's demand and proving you can deliver. So what does this all mean for you listening? It means success, career security. It's about aligning yourself with the demand for specific, adaptable, maybe uniquely human skills, not just adding another line to the supply side of qualifications. We need targeted learning, practical application, constant upskilling.
Which leaves us with a really provocative thought, doesn't it?
Hmm.
Given everything we've discussed, that 40% job loss by 2030, the need for multiple careers, how often should you actually be actively seeking out a new certification, a new skill, maybe a whole new area of study? Not just to tweak your current performance, but specifically to prepare for that inevitable next career shift. Even if you're happy and doing well right now, maybe that constant readiness, that proactive reskilling, maybe that's the real key to future-proofing your career.
Stop studying for the paper, start studying for the practice, and maybe even for the next practice after that. Something to think about. Thanks for diving deep with us today. Now go out there and put that competence to work.